Hey guys, this is Erkin from HDD. Today I got a package from Denmark. This is the unit I'll be working on. According to the client, card had been brought to a local place who said they couldn't fix it, but they can send it to United States of America to get it done. For a lot of money, they said. Clients started to look for alternative solutions, and that's when they found my channel, sent us a message, and today we'll be getting this thing done. I do see a little bit of an indent. I have not opened the card up yet, so I'm just preparing myself for the worst. Hopefully there's only a single chip. This is a 32 gig unit. Inside there might be one or two NAND memory components. The bottom feels kind of empty, so I'm thinking there's only one on top, and if that's the case, I'm not really worried about this indent here. I'm gonna have to take that chip right off and get data recovered off of it. I'll need a knife, something sharp, straight. And to slice open the case, I usually go for like the corner, and right there you can see where two pieces are bonded together, right on that line right there. I'm gonna get the knife right in there and start separating it. It comes off very easily. Okay, looks like there's actually two chips there. I'm really hoping they do not have physical damage on them. No, they don't. They have some kind of contamination. I won't be surprised that maybe the controller is cracked. This is often the case because this card, because it's got two memory components on it, here and here. So this area where the components are mounted, they're affixed with these tiny little solder balls underneath, so they create extra integrity to the card, so it won't flex in that position. But where it's the most vulnerable, and since this is a SD card, usually it goes about this much into the reader, so the rest of it is hanging off, so like it can flex slightly. Often enough what will happen is that card will get bent while it's plugged into the reader, and look on the opposite side, what do we have right on that line where the opening is? We have a controller, and this is the most vulnerable spot for it. Let's have a look. If we zoom in, do we see any fractures in it? And I can see a fracture even now. Let me just adjust my scope so you guys can see it better. If I put something underneath it and just apply a little bit of pressure, that fracture becomes very visible. That is the reason why this card is not working. There is no easy way to fix this card in this condition, so best solution for getting the content off of it is to take the chips off and recover data directly from them. So if you found yourself in the same situation, don't scratch your head on what you're going to do next. Check out the description box. Our contact details are there. We need to know the order of the chips. It's very important to take them off because they're both identical chips. It's very easy to get them mixed up. So what I always do is start it off with marking them. So chip 1 and chip 2. This isn't exactly necessary, but it will help to hold the piece in place. The board is very flexible, so as soon as you start heating it up, it's going to start moving quite a bit, flexing and bending out, so the spring shouldn't be loaded all the way because that's not going to be good. To help with the extraction, I'm going to put some flux on here. Don't go stingy on it. And then at 390 we're gonna start heating up those chips with the 90 airflow. See what I meant? The spring like literally just U-shaped this board. So 2 BGA 100 chips. Yeah, that's what I thought is gonna happen, but luckily we don't need to have that board. If we did have to keep that board alive, I would not have put it in the vise, but it just it helps it from moving all over the place. To clear the oxidation on the chips, which there probably is quite a bit of, I'm going to use new solder. You see those dark spots like right there and like right there, for example. Putting fresh solder on there will take care of that. Yeah, somebody asked me recently, why do you take this step? You don't need to take this step. Well, having pads looking like this, especially if they're signal pads, it's not good, because if they're oxidized like that, they may not conduct signal properly, and if they don't do that, well, you're not going to get a proper read off the chip. So it's always good to clear off the oxidized pads with some fresh solder and a little bit of flux. Flux definitely helps to get that done. Nice and beautiful and shiny. BGA 100 chip is not a common one these days. Like most of the devices come with BGA 132 or BGA 152 chips. 132 seems to be like the most modern one, and most commonly used along like higher capacity units like 64 gig and 128. Yeah, and we see less and less of TSOP 48 chips on memory cards these days. Still some on flash drives coming in, but memory cards, unless it's a smaller capacity, we don't see it. All right, that's all for cleanup. Just drop a bit of alcohol on there and do a quick wipe down. This is the pen, this is the bottom of the chip. Just brush it up a little bit like that. And like this. Now it's clean, and our mat is not covered with fiberglass splinters. That we have to deal with. I don't know where I was looking, it was in the box all along. So chip 1, it's a push to connect socket, pretty straightforward. You just make sure that the orientation of the chip is correct, plug it in there with the power adapter for micron set to about 2.3 2.4 volts. Let's do this. ID. So we got 2 banks. ID came up. We have 2 8 GB banks in here. Since they're both 8 gig banks, I'm just, with the volume set already to what it is, I'm just gonna wing it and go to config and set the read retry for Micron as 6 or 5. Usually both of those are really good. I'm gonna try and read them out this way. So once the reading is done, I'm gonna proceed with the chip number 2 because that's the second one in the sequence, and this is a fairly common unit that we work with, so I'm pretty sure that we already got a solution to lay the template on top of what needs to be put into the structure, and that will give us directory, that will give us the content. We can start saving it and send the report out to the client. So this is what it ends up looking like after everything is built. You can see with the check on, it's still got some red blocks appearing, but if we turn the ACC turn on, the entire thing just goes solid green all the way through. So everything is really good. I'm getting pretty exhausted with this case, and the best I can do for today would be just to finish it up as a raw recovery result. I'm still having problems with the structure. You see these headers are all coming up red, and if I try to open up a JPEG, it doesn't open. But I saved the entire logical image and I had it scanned. So now it located over 1,500 JPEGs in there. This tool is great at finding JPEGs, but client shot with Nikon raw images, so they're NEF format. This tool does not do that great with NEF format, so this part is going to be really blurred out, but you can see the file opens up fine and it's full resolution. So I'm going to go ahead and save those, and we can see that it's called Nikon, it's shot with Nikon. D810 is the name for it. So we're going to go ahead and scan this whole thing. Since it's only 30 gig, it's not that big. And our studio is actually really good with locating NEF images in their original condition. So that's the tool I'm going to use. Let's just pause this, not scan the whole thing, but like let's just go to raw, graphics, pictures, and then detects 3 types: JPEG, digital camera, and Nikon raw images. And in Nikon raw images, you can see that it's actually giving out pretty adequate sizes. So 38 megabytes per image approximately, that's what it should be. Let me just save this one file for the sake of saving some time. I'm gonna go back to the desktop. Desktop, where's that image that we just saved? And I'm gonna open it with different view. Bam. And that's a NEF. Yeah, look at that fine detail. In order to capture all the NEF images, I'm going to run a full scan with our studio on that logical image file that I've saved. And by the time the entire scanning process runs out, all of these images should be located. So I hope this makes sense, and if you guys are in the same situation as the owner of this card, don't hesitate to check out the description box. That's where you're going to find all our information. For those of you who follow this channel on a regular basis, I thank you guys very much for tuning in again. If you have any questions, as always, drop them in the comments below. And if you're new to this place, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and notification button to get notified the next time video drops. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next episode.